Yes, man. Hey, welcome back to the channel, Gerald Peters. Always remember, whatever you think about comes about, whatever you focus on grows. Hey, today I got an exciting, interesting, behind the scenes, personal interview with my property manager, business partner, and spouse of 20 plus years to get her take on the real estate market and a little bit about what we've done the last 20 years, and maybe you'll get something out of this. I hope you get something out of this. I hope you or your spouse, show your wife, if you're a guy, if you're a girl, show your husband, like you can work together on this. You can create a business, a side hustle, whatever you want to call it, with investing, with real estate to prosper you and your family. Yes. Hey, welcome back to the channel, Gerald Peters. So today I have my business partner of a lot of years, 20 plus years. And we're going to talk a little real estate and mainly maybe from her perspective. You guys hear from my perspective all the time. We'll hear from her perspective on, we'll dig into management, family, how real estate is, the cool thing about real estate is, unlike a stock maybe, is how involved friends, family, and other people can be in your business. And but without further ado, we'll introduce my wife, Deanne Krusensterner, and she's been a real estate investor for 20 plus years. She's managed property that whole time. She's probably rehabbed 30, if you count rehabs, 30, 40, because some of them have been rehabbed 2, 3, 4 times, it seems like, maybe 3, 2. So extensive experience working on houses, finding houses, remodeling houses, and even in day-to-day management of houses, which I typically don't do a lot on. So hey, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. It's weird doing an interview with your spouse.
It's really weird.
But we were, it's like, where do you even begin, right? I mean, let's begin there. How'd you get started in real estate?
Because I mistakenly took you to visit friends of mine in Wisconsin who were doing this, I don't know, 10 years before us.
Right.
And Paul gave you a book, and that's what you read on the way home, and the next thing I know, we're buying properties.
Right. So she took me, we went on vacation. We weren't married at the time, and we went to visit friends of hers, friends since 3rd grade. They were probably a decade ahead of us in what I call the money, in doing the millionaire thing, trying to get rich, man. We're trying to get rich. The purpose of my channel is to help average people see that there is a path, there is a blueprint that normal, everyday people can do. You're not excluded. We were as poor as could be.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were at the prison.
I was a prison guard, which is a very lucrative, high-paying, awesome job.
Yeah. And you were doing lawns, and I was working as a social worker, making no money.
Right. So wife's...
Paying off student debt.
We had student debts. We had a home mortgage, car payments.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit on credit cards, too.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we just did a 180. Like, we had to change the way we were doing things. Not that we were doing things bad. We just had to get focused.
Yeah, I mean, because... even when we went to buy the house.
Our house?
Yeah, our personal home. We didn't do it the way that we talk about doing it now.
No, it's not the way I teach people. Matter of fact, I put 10%, we put 10% down that we borrowed from someone. Your parents gave it to
My mother gave me
right.
the money to put 10% down.
Right.
And then, so we were paying PMI,
everything.
Yeah.
PMI, student loans, car payments.
Right.
And now
it was $30,000 in debt just for student loan.
Right. And then you fast forward 20 years and it's a totally different story, right?
Well, hell, 7 years and the house was paid for.
Right.
The car loans were gone. Student debt was gone. So, I mean, even though we went I don't know, we went into it how we tell people not to.
Mm-hmm.
We, like you said, we got it together and we were like, okay, we got to knock all this crap out. And we did. And every ounce of extra money went to paying off all the debts.
Right, and I tell people that was about a 2-year period where we I think we had the house mortgage for about 5 because we had been paying on it for a minute.
Right.
And we
I mean, generally speaking, within that 7-year time frame, though, that's when we
got rid of the house.
We got rid of all of it, to be
Right.
honest, even the student debt. But everything we were making was going into that. We didn't go out. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't.
I mean, we went out by having people over the house.
Right.
And we'd cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, go to the park. Like every shit that's free.
Weird shit like
vacations at friends'
French
houses. Like, oh, that friend has more money than us. Let's vacation with them.
We went up to Julian and Paul's. And we drove.
And we took the dogs because we couldn't get someone to watch them.
Right. Or couldn't afford to have somebody to watch them.
We dragged the baby. And then, so we knock out the debt. And then when we buy our first property, I think we're not sure the year, 2002,
I had to remember
2003.
2003 because
Ethan was a baby.
Ethan was still in his car seat.
Right. So
dragging him around to properties.
We're a young family. Wife's a social worker. Very lucrative, high-paying job.
By this time, I didn't even have a social work job.
Had you quit by then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was doing whatever scheme hustle that was legal, quasi-legal, that I could make money and not go, like mowing yards, doing whatever I could do, stuff on the internet. And but once we got our debt gone, and because we lived so below our means, I mean, we were probably living on $2,500 a month or less. Again, I'm gonna go back in time. It's 20 years ago, but we were living.
I don't even think it was that much, to be honest with you. I paid the bills, huh?
Right, and we pretty much lived on your salary.
In the beginning, we did, yeah.
Yeah, and we took all the money outside of that, and that's what we used to buy. First to pay debt, and then second to start buying properties.
And that also meant that there were no Chanel purses, there were no Louis purses, there were
no purses. So all you girls out there with your fancy purses and you ain't got no properties, you're doing it backwards.
Correct.
Right.
Because now I can have my Louis purses,
right.
I have my Chanel purses, and this.
I hate it. Like, I see that, and they're young, and they got a brand new car. And I don't begrudge people having new cars. And it's not that I'm even mad at them. I'm sad for them because I know what they're doing. Like, they don't know because they're young. And when you're young, you can't help yourself. Like, I did the same dumb shit. And I realize what they're giving up.
Well, yeah, but even you and I didn't do, I mean, I had the Tahoe for 15 years.
Right. I think cars are one of the biggest things that kill people. But yeah, we've kept all our cars for 15 to 20 years.
Drove a 15-year-old used vehicle.
Well, my truck when I traded in was 19 years old.
Right.
And I paid cash for it.
Yeah, and the only reason I got rid of my Tahoe was because the electrical was going out in it. And
otherwise, we'd still drive
air conditioning.
Right.
And yeah, but because I loved my Tahoe.
And we drove it for a while, dysfunctioning. And being millionaires. So we're net worth millionaires with properties, and we're driving a car with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
So
it didn't last long in Texas.
No, these are exchanges you have to make, and it's possible. It's just like you guys hear me say all the time. Life is a trade, and it's what are you going to trade to get? And if you do a lot of great things now in the now,
mm-hmm.
the purses, the wallets, the nicer house, all these things, you're trading off bigger, better things down the road, in my opinion.
I think so too. I mean, everything from, I cooked dinner every night. Mm-hmm. We never went out to dinner. We didn't go out to the movies. We didn't
go
what
out if I don't know how to cook? How could I overcome this?
Hello, YouTube.
Oh, you're saying I could learn?
On occasion.
Okay,
yes.
Just wondering.
Unless you're a complete moron, you can actually learn how to cook.
Okay. What if I don't know how to paint a house? How do I overcome that?
You go.
These are the questions that I get. But I don't know how to do that, Gerald. It's like, you learn?
Honestly, what's funny is that a lot of the stuff that I learned how to do, either my mother taught me how to do it.
She had a great mother, by the way.
Yes, I did. And, but then also watching people, because like when we first redid our kitchen in our personal property, and this is before us owning any of the rentals, I watched what he did. and I had him teach me how to do the tile in the kitchen. So when it came time to tile the bathroom, I knew how to do it.
Right, we did that. I mean,
Right.
mostly you.
So now, did I do it great?
There's a
Not in
lesson there.
comparison.
Interacting with your contractors.
Yes.
If you hire,
100%.
we're fast forwarding a second, but let's say you hire a plumber. Poke around, look at them, see what they're doing. Don't be a dick, but like just be inquisitive, be complimentary to them. Ask them why they're doing something.
Yeah, and if you have I mean, especially as a female living in Texas, where the good old boy network is strong. If you have a good contractor, he has no issues explaining things to you as to
Right.
why he's doing what he's doing. And oftentimes, James, our plumber, for example, it wasn't just, no, Deanna, that can't be done. It's why it couldn't be done, and helped me figure out ways of doing it the way I wanted to. Because I didn't want the sink here. I wanted it over here so that I could put in a bigger shower area or whatever. And so he would talk me through, okay, well, we could do this, or we could do this. But the fact that he actually took the time to explain these things to me, that meant a lot.
And so that, I mean, the lesson there is trying to have a relationship. You know, you don't have to be buddies, but you want to have a friendly working relationship with contractors. And I hear people, I had a lady not too a while back, was very adversarial toward her. And I get it. You can run into bad contractors. You just want to let them go and then look for the next one. And you're going to find one. And when you find one that you like, maybe they're not the cheapest.
James definitely is.
And don't try to make them the cheapest. You get sometimes what you pay for.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's a working relationship. I mean, we've had several that I will never work with again.
Right, and you learn that lesson and you move.
Ever.
Is that a good reason never to do real estate again? Because you had a bad experience with a contractor?
No, just go find a better contractor.
Right, or rent. Because I get that a lot. Well, I've had such bad experience. Like, okay, well, have another experience.
Yeah. And again, it's not about me getting my way. It's about me being able to work with somebody who can help me with my vision of what it is I want to accomplish. For as much as, when we first started doing all this, you were the money guy. When we would go look at a property, it was, I would say, okay, I want to knock this out. I want to do this, 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 and this. And then you would tell me no or yes, whether the numbers worked with what we purchased. And then by having worked with my contractors and gotten a good relationship with them where they could guide me, I guess, I knew what the costs were going to be before we even walked into a house and what I could and couldn't do. But without them having taken their time to teach me those things, then I would have been stuck a lot.
Right. It's a division of labor. One of the things about real estate that, to me, for us, and I'm sure for many other people who've been successful or hold properties, is the idea that you can bring your family in. And originally, Dan did all the construction, so per se. Like, I might go over on the weekend and take stuff to the dump.
Right.
More of an errand boy. And what my job was to get the money,
Yes.
so that we could buy properties. And her job was to get that damn property fixed and up and going. So she would be over there dealing with the plumbers, the electricians, painting, anything she could physically do, either directing others or doing it.
Right.
And
We're doing hardwood floors.
Right. And we would hire people.
Right.
And I would be at my home office working, like trying to make us money.
Right. I mean, like the one house that we did,
Some guys would have a hard time with that, I think. Some contractors do.
yes, some contractors do.
Right. And contractors,
They didn't want to take direction from
yeah, sometimes, and that's a thing. So the point to that is, ladies, one, for a family, it's a division of labor. So if you guys you're like, well, my wife doesn't well, tough shit. Your wife needs to learn. Like, all these things are learnable. And so,
and guys, man up.
right.
Come on. Your wife can go off and do these things.
Right.
And you don't know how to do them, and she does, or she develops a better relationship.
She can
with
use her
certain people.
womanly, I don't want to say charms in a bad way, like it's, like you're being inappropriate. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and we found this, some contractors, I'd be like, Dan, call this guy. Because I know he won't be mean to her, but if I get on the phone with him, he's going to be like, listen, man. But if she calls, he's going to be like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
There's,
And I'm not a hair twirling kind of girl here.
No, but that works.
I'm straightforward to the point. And there were guys that male contractors that we dealt with that I was like, get him the hell off of my job site now.
Right.
And I would call Gerald in to say, you need to deal with this guy because I'm going to kill him.
Because he couldn't work with women for whatever reason.
If I said I wanted it one way, he was going to do it exactly the way he wanted it, regardless of what I wanted. And then what's the sense of hiring him? So it's a balance that has to, and you have to take the strengths of the one person and the strengths of the other person and meld those things together so that it works.
And sometimes you may, and this is division of labor, and I'm going off some notes. I mean, we've been working on a real estate course, and it's hard to get everything out of your brain into a piece of paper. But one thing about real estate is that division of labor, and you can just start dividing it up, and yet because you're only 28, you're 29, you don't know your skill set. You don't know that you're great at drywall. Like you've never done drywall. And then if you're both doing it, one of you is probably going to be better than the other. Just like drawing, two people can be not artists, but one draws better than the other just naturally. And so you may get in there and go like, wow, my wife has a really good scheme of colors. And I'm basically colorblind. To me, there's 4 colors on planet Earth. It's blue, red, black, and white. And it's the shade of that. Where, she'll pick out certain colors and things, and I don't have any interest in that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, will I? I wander off.
No, and one thing I found, too, that, and
so it's a division of labor.
Speaking, and I am very OCD, and I'm very detail-oriented. Mm-hmm. And, no, you didn't care about the colors.
Yeah, I still don't. But if you do, if you're a guy that does, then run with that.
Right, and what we found out too, because we were saying in the beginning, Gerald was the money guy, and he was bringing in the money to be able to afford to do what we wanted to do, and I was able to go over there and deal with the contractors and do the those types of things, do the painting, do tiling, do hardwood floorings, hang light fixtures, whatever. And then it got to a point where I needed him to come in more and help. And I found that I still use you more on the construction end.
Right.
Doing the drywall, building closets, whatever I want done. And I am the one that still does the painting, get splatters.
Right, and then, and that's a learning phase, and I was going to say that's something else. There's been times where we had to almost revert our roles in a way, in that early on I wasn't really involved in the construction. I wasn't raised doing construction. My dad wasn't. You've met my dad. You know my dad. It's as far from construction as you get.
Yep.
He doesn't even change light bulbs.
Right.
He's a computer tech guy, and so.
Well, my dad didn't get his hands dirty either. My mom did, but
right.
My dad didn't.
So as a late 30s, 40-year-old man, more likely, had to decide I need to be a contractor now to the best of my ability.
Right.
And how did I learn? YouTube. So when people are like, but I'm not very handy, Gerald. No shit. Nobody's born handy. Like, no one's born knowing how to play the piano. These are just learnable things.
Yeah.
Now, you can have natural, but any human being can put in a floor.
Yes.
It may not be the best floor. It may have flaws and not be cut right. But the good thing is you don't even have to get it right. People will rent a fucked up house.
Well, and I guess the floors, for example, you're going to end up changing out those floors anyway.
Right. So even if you did a bad job, the next one will be better, right?
Exactly. I mean, it just can't, be causing an issue. It just has to.
And we've
might
done
not look the best.
Yeah. And 7 years into our venture where we're on house 8, 9, 10, 12, we're like, who did this? And it's us. It's like, oh, wait, that was us. And because you learn things. You learn how to...
Well, and you know what's funny is the flooring is one example, too, of switching roles. Mm-hmm. I didn't do flooring. I knew how to do flooring. I'd done flooring. I chose not to ever do flooring again because flooring sucks.
It does.
But when your knee was jacked,
right,
and you couldn't get down and do the flooring, you were doing the cutting, which I was used to doing.
Right.
And then I was down on the floor. So there is this, again, when it comes to these...
as a millionaire, at this time, we're multimillionaires. My knee hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still over there working.
Yes.
I have a brace on, and you're on the floor. I hand to you. You basically install the floor. I'm the guy cutting on the table, and we get the floor in.
Right.
Right. That's, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do that. My back hurts.
I don't have time to do that.
Right. And it's like, you have to make it time.
Yeah. Well, and the other part too is we actually enjoy.
We enjoy it. It's like a puzzle.
You were just doing stuff over at a friend's house.
And it's one of my best days here. I know that sounds stupid.
To go over and work. Yeah, I know.
Doesn't that sound stupid?
No.
And I'm so much richer than them.
Yeah.
Like beyond.
Yeah.
They have to do that. I'm doing it because I like to do it. That's different.
I would literally rather be covered in paint than sitting in an office.
Yeah, they made me quit. And then when I was going, because he saw quickly I knew what I was doing. I'm putting the draw cloth down. I got the thing. I'm like, bro, I know how to paint. I got this. I was like, trust me, I am okay. Just show me where the tools are. I was like, if I run into some shit that, if you see me doing something weird, just yell at me. I said, I can cut in, do all that. So I just immediately start working.
Right.
And then he was wrapping up. And I was like, well, why don't you go and I'll keep going. I'll put up all the stuff. He was like, no. And I understand that feeling.
Right.
He doesn't know me well enough to know that I could just continue on.
Well, I think too, part of that was
guilty.
Well, no, part of that was they didn't want anybody there at the house by themselves.
But Anthony was going to be there. But I was just having such a good time.
Right.
Just sweating balls. It's like 95 degrees, and I'm on a ladder and I'm painting. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm on realtors. I'm painting. How much is this house?
Please note, he is extremely slow at everything he does because he's got to be on the damn phone, looking at what's available in the neighborhood. What are the rents going for? What are the houses going for?
I get sidetracked.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to post this on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I told TK that. I said, listen, I'm gonna do a good job. I'm gonna move slower than you,
right?
Because I'm gonna take pictures and document. He was like, just whatever, Yeah. But the point being is we love that properties are a craft, and it's anybody can learn it.
Yes.
You really can. No different than anybody can. You may not want to play the piano, but if you did it every day for an hour, you would start to be okay.
Right.
You would make sounds that sounded like music.
Right.
You're never going to be, Elton John, but...
No, and again, back to YouTube, there are tricks. There are so many... I'll sit there in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee and I'm watching these stupid reels, and
makes you feel like you don't know anything.
All of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, that's how you do that. Because yes, y'all, I do watch reels about woodworking, laying in flooring.
She'll come show me. You should learn this. And it's like some fake, there's so many tricks I can't remember them all. I mean, but again, not to get too sidetracked, but the main thing there was we were talking about division of labor. You, your wife. If it's you and a brother, I'm not big on partnerships. I have several friends that have successful partnerships. Just me personally, I'm a private guy, which is hard to believe, right? Don't you think? I don't have a lot of people around me.
No.
I tend, right?
You don't.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of people around me. I don't like a lot of people at my house. From time to time, I invite people over. I'm just very antisocial. And yet I'm active on social media.
Right.
I just don't need to be in a crowd. I like to hang out alone. I go for walks alone. And it's just, that's how I think, I get frustrated when people start asking me lots of questions in person. Yeah, I get frustrated.
Or me.
Even my wife starts asking me questions. And truth is, guys, I'm going to be honest. One of my faults, this is a fault of mine, I do not like to work with people. Even smart people.
No.
You may be right. Like, maybe your idea is better than mine. I don't give a fuck. It wasn't my idea. And
well, even just everyday business stuff that has to be taken care of. And
I'm not good at work.
All right. Wow. That was great. That's the first time I've ever sat down with my wife to sit and talk real estate, talk business. We both have our different jobs. I hope you saw that. We talked about distribution of labor. We talked about utilizing some of our natural skill talents. Listen, we got a whole nother 50 minutes of this interview. You can catch the full thing over at Spotify. Just hit my bio link. As always, if you don't have a free copy of my ebook, which is Our Story, the woman I just interviewed, my wife, spouse, and business partner of 20 plus years. Listen, you're going to need help, man. So if you're married, if you got a significant other, hey, put them to work, helping you get rich. You guys work together. I hope that's what you got out of this. Go get a copy of my free ebook. You don't have to die broke.